Rochette for hooking, hauled down Stephen Rice. Stephen Rice embellished it maybe just a little bit, as he's known to do, but it was definitely a hook. And Ontario gets the opportunity that it really wants. 4:18 left in the period. They're on the power play.
Over the past few years, you know, I can't think of a better leader in junior hockey than the leadership skills exhibited by Stephen Rice in games I've seen him play. Last year with Kitchener in the Memorial Cup, with the Canadian national team at the World Junior Championships, and in this game. Here's Eric Lindros trying to lead a comeback. Centers it. Skolby scores! Power play goal, and don't look now, but it's 7-5, Quebec.
Again, Paul, the power and speed of Eric Lindros, he's having terrible luck or whatever around the net. He's not bearing down around the net and getting the goals, but every time he's on the ice, his power and strength are creating offensive opportunities. And in that case, his ex-teammate in Oshawa, Jared Skaldy, popped in the rebound. But Lindros just blows around the players here. They challenge him, he beats them, he's got that big long reach, and here it looks like he's completely out of the play. Theoretically, never should have got the puck back in front of the net. He burst around Boucher, but because of the long reach, was able to put a shot on net, allowing the rebound to come out to Skaldy. And Jared Skaldy in that close doesn't miss many like that. A New Jersey Devils second-round pick, a top-notch scorer in the Ontario Hockey League.
He was traded to Belleville for a guy he's playing with tonight, Rob Pearson, in a straight-up deal.
The irony, of course, Paul, is that one of the reasons Skaldy was traded is because him and Lindros did not particularly mesh well out on the ice. In that case, Skaldy was there to bang in Lindros' rebound.
Adam Bennett. Up ahead to Halverson. To Firth to Halverson. Trying to get outside in Rochette. 7-5, Team Quebec leading Team Ontario. 1991 All-Star Challenge here at the Forum in Montreal. I'm Paul Romanuk with Bob McKenzie and Gord Miller. Here comes Denis Chalafou for Sevigny. Chalafou right in front. Sevigny. There's one chance. There's another one. And there's another one. And Brathwaite makes the stop. Here's Firth. Snell. Halverson crisscrossing behind him. He couldn't land it on the tape. Barahowski clears it in. Here comes Cerrone, number 14 for Ontario, but Rochette gets to the puck first, and Rochette has it at center, dumps it in. Yannick Perreault and Barahowski going after it, and icing is called on Team Quebec.
Fred Brathwaite coming up with great saves in a big flurry around his net. Martin Lapointe, number 27 for Quebec, walked out from behind the net and had 2 or 3 good whacks at it. And then, just as Eric Lindros couldn't get the puck up earlier, neither could Martin Lapointe here. There's one save kicked out. You'll see Lapointe go in behind the net and watch him fish this puck back out, come around. Looks like a rugby scrum. Everybody's down. Brathwaite's down and out. But Martin Lapointe can't get the shot away, can't get it up over Freddie Brathwaite.
Jason Cerrone in the penalty box for Team Ontario for slashing. And Quebec with a late period power play. They lead 7-2 with 2:33 to play in this second period.
I'm going to get this out of the way early, Paul. Watch out for number 44 on this power play. That's the guy they want to tee it up to. Yannick Perreault going for goal number 4 here.
And that's the guy who wins the faceoff. Roulet. Tulehu with a shot. Rebound. Perreault didn't get it that time. Brathwaite had his number and hangs on.
A good job by Brathwaite to jump out on that loose puck. When Yannick Perreault was around, you don't want to be caught leaving big rebounds. And in that case, Brathwaite did leave the rebound, but he was the first man on it because his defense wasn't able to clear it.
Chrysler Canada for their generous support and sponsoring the Molson Chrysler All-Star Challenge.
You think he can play in the NHL? A lot of scouts don't seem to think so.
Well, the point isn't whether he can play in the NHL or not. It's whether anybody's going to give him the opportunity. And I'm certain that he'll be drafted this year because he's eligible in all 12 rounds. But again, it's a simple case of NHL looking at size and speed and dismissing guys out of hand. There's no way in the world that this guy shouldn't have been drafted ahead of a bunch of U.S. high schoolers and some Europeans that may never see the light of day.
And therein lies the fault with the draft system, the way it's set up now, perhaps. Perreault in front. Doesn't get number 4 this time either. Didn't get number 4 mainly because he had number 5, Adam Foote, hooking him up on the play in front. Lindros is up there, trying to stir something up. Gillingham gives Lindros a bump as he goes by. Now Gillingham has the puck. 1:15 to go in the power play for Team Quebec. 1:48 to go in the period. Here comes Perreault. Drops it off. Didn't get it back. Lehoux after it. Number 11. Gillingham tried to get it in front. Lehoux. Nice spin move. Perreault to Lehoux. To Perreault. Lehoux again. Shoots. Just wide. And York will whip it up around the boards, but not out. Roulet. Gillingham right in front for Perreault. And he kind of fanned on it. Brathwaite with the stop, and Jason York and Eric Lindros both coming in to give Perreault a little shot. And that is Gillingham, who you see, number 35, who moves in. He is the protector of Perreault, both in this game and during the regular season with Trois-Rivières.
Yannick Perreault, so dangerous around that net. You watch him so crafty getting in behind the defenseman, standing on the doorstep, always moving. He's not real big, he's not real strong. He doesn't want to get tied up by a defenseman, and we see Brathwaite there put the big glove over top of it, and Lindros come in and give him a cheap shot from behind after the whistle.
He has been the player of the week 4 times already this season in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. 142 points and counting. Offsetting penalties. Adam Foote goes off for slashing for Team Ontario. And Todd Gillingham goes off. He gets a roughing call, offsetting minors late in this period. 1:14 to play.
Gillingham's a 4-year man in the Quebec League from Labrador City. Here's the penalty in front of the net. These teams do not like each other at all as Gillingham delivers a stiff, straight arm into Adam Foote's face.
Gillingham had 349 penalty minutes last year, and his totals are up there again this season. He's a tough player. Not drafted, although he was invited to the Quebec Nordiques camp last year. Less than a minute to go in the second period. 7-5. Quebec leading Team Ontario. And here comes Sevigny. Stopped. Martel nor Craigwell can break away. Sevigny back in. Chalafou and Bennett tangle in the corner. Sevigny's in there too. Sevigny, number 22 there, trying to jab it loose. 25 seconds to play in the second period.
Good defensive work by Adam Bennett along the board, something that Team Ontario hasn't done enough of tonight, and that is he knew there were 2 men on him. He didn't try to make the play. He just kept those big skates up against the boards and had Sevigny draped all over him. Martin Lapointe and Sevigny worked the corner so well. Number 27 for Quebec, the Laval Titan, who we saw last year in the Memorial Cup. We talked about him earlier as a potential first-round pick this year. He too isn't huge by NHL standards. Stands just under 6 feet, but he's very solid, 197, 198 pounds, and plays a very good, aggressive two-way hockey game.
In addition to playing in the Canadian national junior team, this is the second time that he has played in his Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, Ontario Hockey League All-Star Challenge.
He's also an outspoken player. He's not afraid to speak his mind. When Eric Lindros was getting all the attention earlier this season, he spoke out and said, hey, if I was 4 pounds heavier and 4 pounds taller and 20 pounds heavier, I'd be just as good as Lindros, although I'm not quite sure I understand the logic of that. If Theoren Fleury was 6'4", he'd be a lot more dangerous too.
Here's Brad May. And Eric Levine playing the brick wall on that occasion. And May is out there like a bull in a china shop looking for revenge. May in front of the net, and Potman grabs it and hangs on. And there is May, the center of attention. Don't think you like getting stiff down at center ice by Eric Levine. That'll snap you to life.
A feisty player with great leadership. Look at him. Boy, does he enjoy this. This is his kind of hockey game. Brad May is a unique individual. Leadership skills are outstanding. The Buffalo Sabres feel in the first round, with their first-round pick, using it to take May from Niagara Falls last year, that they got the consummate team player, a guy who just loves to play the game. He lives to play hockey.
And we'll get a look at Brad May next week. CHL Sunday night, a special Monday night edition. Brad May and the Niagara Falls Flyers, leaders in the Ems division, go up against Eric Lindros and the Oshawa Generals, leaders in the Leyden division. A battle of a couple of division leaders. That is Monday night. Right off the draw, Felix Potvin is there again with the stop, with 3 seconds to go in the period now.
Well, there were 6 seconds left in the period when the face-off was taken. A good job by Ontario to create a scoring opportunity with just a few seconds left. We talked about May, where he gets banged right from behind, gets back up, turns around and gives Levine a poke. Stares down LaHoo and laughed all the way to the next face-off.
Freddie Brathwaite going to the bench for this face-off. 3 seconds left. Ontario with the extra attacker out there. And they scrum it up rugby style off the draw. Adam Bennett got a shot, but the siren had gone, and now here comes trouble. And Brad May, back out near the blue line, is going to go with Guy LaHoo, and LaHoo knocks May to the ice. Twice.
Give him points for the takedown, Paul. LaHoo looks more like a wrestler than a fighter at this point. The two players, as is custom now, especially when one's wearing a full face mask, remove the helmet. And LaHoo twice bulldog Brad May to the ice.
So what more do you want?
Well, we've had it all tonight, and for Ontario, it's especially encouraging as the period ends amid great controversy and flurry of action here. They're down by only 2 goals.
We've got a great third period coming up. 7-5 hockey game before we get to the third period. The second intermission to deal with, and with more on that, here's Gord Miller.
All right, thanks very much, Paul. Drake Barahosky will be our guest live in our second intermission, and we'll have a special look at the NHL draft as some of our TSN experts gather to talk about what's going to happen in Buffalo in June. Our second intermission. We'll be right back after this.
People who think all motor oils are the same should have their heads examined. Just look at his head. See the sludge that can build up? The scoring on this piston. And this metal wearing away because someone didn't give their oil a second thought. Well, think about it. And switch to premium Valvoline all climate. Beats every car manufacturer's warranty specs. There's nothing rated higher than Valvoline. Nothing.
Fruit, cause the king bee gets the honey.
Quebec leads Ontario 7-5 after 2 periods of an all-star game that's had a little bit of everything here at the Forum in Montreal. Drake Barahosky is our guest here in the second intermission. And Drake, I've been to a lot of all-star games. I can't remember seeing one this intense.
No, it's a really good game out there. Both teams are coming out really hard and hitting, and all the elements of a good game are there.
Let's talk about the season you had. You were sent down by the Leafs early in the season after being the first-round pick. How do you view that now, a couple of months after it happened?
Well, I'm happy to be down back again. I'm learning a lot and playing a lot. Bert's showing me things that I didn't really remember from being hurt and sitting out a year. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of the year, and hopefully we'll be able to go and win a Memorial Cup.
You mentioned Bert, talking about Bert Templeton, your coach in North Bay. You were sent to North Bay just after Christmas. Good deal for you?
Oh, for me, it was great. I was couldn't be happier anywhere else. Bert's a great hockey man, and I'm really looking forward to learning more under him.
Being released by the national junior team, a lot of people talked about your knee. What exactly happened there, and how is your knee?
At the World Juniors, I thought I had a good camp. I would have loved to have played, but I guess I wasn't what they were looking for, so I can't really cry over spilt milk. I have to come out now and play hard, and the knee's fine. There's no problem with it, and I'm just looking forward to it, and just look back at it as a bad dream.
I think we're all looking forward to the third period. What do we expect out there?
Probably more of what you've seen already. It's a great game, and hopefully we'll be able to keep the pace up.
When you play with a guy like Eric Lindros, there's so many stars out there. Does it take some time to gel together as a team?
I think so. I think only one day. It's pretty hard to get together, but a lot of us have played together before, and it's great playing with all the best players in the country, so we're really having a lot of fun out there.
And not a bad building to play in either.
No, it's a great building to play in.
Greg, thanks very much. Look forward to seeing you at the Forum as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Thank you.
Greg Barahosky, our guest here in the second intermission, and our coverage of the OHL Quebec All-Star Game from the Forum will continue in just a moment.
Finally, a cordless drill that just won't quit. The Black & Decker Univolt. With more torque than its leading competitor and more than 100 watts out of power. Only one thing stops the Univolt. The industrial strength Black & Decker Univolt. The industrial tool division of Black & Decker presents an industrial strength guarantee. If you're not satisfied with any tool we make, we'll take it back. Guaranteed.
I've been into cars since my first 57 Chevy. But knowing your way around under here these days takes more smarts and a lot more training. And because cars keep getting more complicated, well, that training never stops. That's what this is all about, the Midas Certified Excellence Training Program. It means I invest the classroom time and Midas invests the money to help me stay on top of what's going on under your car and under your next car. Nobody tops the Top Guns. Nobody.
You know, my idea of boring, pizza crust that tastes like cardboard. So when McCain made this new crust for deep and delicious, I wanted to tell my sister and my dad. Because McCain has a tastier, crispier crust so you can really get your teeth into. It's shortcut out at our house.
McCain Deep and Delicious Pizza with a tastier, crispier crust.
After all, shouldn't pizza be fun?
Welcome back to the Forum in Montreal as the Quebec Major Junior All-Stars face the best of the OHL in the 6th Annual All-Star Game. When the NHL holds its annual draft June 22nd in Buffalo, there's not much question about who will be number one. It will be, of course, Eric Lindros of the Oshawa Generals. The only mystery is, where is Lindros going? The Quebec Nordiques and the New Jersey Devils right now are the front-runners in the Lindros sweepstakes. But beyond that is some interesting drama as the first round will unfold. And to talk about that first round, we have our panel of experts here to talk about it here at the All-Star Game. Next to me is Paul Romanek, our TSN junior hockey play-by-play man. Next to him is our junior analyst, Bob McKenzie, also the editor-in-chief of the Hockey News. And from our French colleagues at RDS, Marc Lachapelle, also junior hockey writer for the Journal de Montreal. Gentlemen, obviously Lindros is number one, but after that, what happens?
Well, I think in Ontario, when you talk about them, you can pretty much fluff it off after Eric Lindros. You have Pat Peake, who might be the highest-rated guy in the Ontario League, but and Pat likely won't even go in the top 10. Pat Peake is a guy who's not quite big enough, I don't think, to serve anybody much good up in the NHL yet. He's still growing.
Well, you have to remember who has the number 2 pick, and the number 2 pick is already held by the San Jose Sharks. So Jack Ferreira knows what he's going to do, or at least what his options are. And he's got 5 players right now that he's looking at. That includes Pat Falloon, a really gifted offensive center we saw at the World Junior Championships from the Spokane Chiefs. He's outstanding. Brent Bilodeau, a big defenseman who's from Seattle, and he's an impact-type defensive player. And as you go down the list, the West has quite a few guys. Scott Niedermeyer, a great offensive defenseman from the Kamloops Blazers. These are the kind of guys that they're going to be looking at for the number 2 pick overall.
I think that in the Quebec League this year, they won't tie what they did in '88 when they had 6 guys drafted in the first round, but at least this year there is talent. There are some good players. You talk about a guy like Patrick Poulin from Saint-Hyacinthe, a big left winger, 17 years old. He's rated 4th. We've got 4 guys in the first 12, going down with Martin Lapointe, who played on that Team Canada gold medalist in Saskatoon, Philippe Boucher, a big defenseman from Granby, and René Corbett, a left winger, #1 pick out of the midget draft this year. So I think that this year, nobody will go #1 because Hydros obviously is the best one. But after that, when you're going to hit the spots 4, 5, and 6, I think there should be some good Quebec players there.
Let's stay with the Quebec League for just a moment, Mark. And why is it that the Quebec League seems to have struggled in recent years providing stars for the NHL?
I think it was tough over the last 2 years because there was a lack of talent, and that started from the performance of the team that went to the Air Canada Cup in '88 in Thunder Bay. It was the first time that the Quebec team really did bad, didn't win a medal. So that was the '88 draft. Those guys are 19 years old this year, but at 17 they were not good enough. But you saw it coming last year. There was some really good 16-year-olds and late 17 years old. And the crop will produce this year a very good one, I think.
I think there's a real stigma attached to a lot of the Quebec players, unfortunately, though. I mean, the book seems to always be lots of skills, not enough size. That's always the book.
This, or they draft the goaltender that receives 50, 55 shots a game, which he is very good, or the gifted forward, the Mario Lemieux, the Pat Lafontaine, the Dale Howard-Chuck, the Denis Savard. But when you look at the Canadiens roster last Sunday's game against Boston, their 6 defense were from the Quebec League graduates, and many of them were underdogs. So I think it shows that over the years it has developed, and it's coming better.
It's not just going to be a great year for the Quebec League in the first round. When you look overall, the depth this year finally is there in the Quebec League in the second and third round, and the scouts are very impressed with who are coming along, and not only for this year, but also next year. We talk about a guy named Paul Brousseau, a name to remember, and he's an outstanding prospect. He's only 16, 17 years old at this time. He isn't eligible until 1992. And the one thing we should point out while we talk about the 3 junior leagues is that there's also some very good college players. This is a junior hockey broadcast, but at the same time, when we talk about #2 overall, don't rule out Boston University defenseman Scott LaChance or University of Michigan defenseman Aaron Ward.
All right, let's talk about #2. We mentioned that Lindros will be #1. Let's get a quick prediction. Who's #2 when San Jose picks?
I think it's got to be Scott Niedermayer.
I think it'll be either Scott Niedermayer or Scott LaChance, and since Paul said Scott Niedermayer, I have to say Scott LaChance because we don't agree on anything.
I would say either Brett Bilodeau or Scott Niedermayer. I think they'll start in the backfield with a defenseman.
You think Brett Bilodeau has hardly played, though? I mean, he's been injured. I wonder if that's going to be a problem.
Well, Drake Berhowski hardly played, and he was drafted 10 by the Leafs last year, and he started the year in the NHL this year.
Well, gentlemen, we'll see what happens June 22nd at the Auditorium in Buffalo. Thanks for all your comments. Our second intermission continues from the Forum in Montreal in just a moment.
There's banking, and then there's Scotia Banking. George and Frank both started saving for retirement back in 1977. Every taxation year since then, they've invested the same number of dollars in tax-sheltered RSPs at the same rates of interest. The difference is that Frank talked to Scotia Bank before he began, and what he learned helped put him thousands of dollars ahead. Find out how to make the most of your future at any Scotia Bank branch.
Lots of motor oils claim to be tough. Quaker State puts it in writing. Ask your participating service center about Quaker State's tough lubrication guarantee. Only a tough motor oil can make a guarantee this tough. Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
For all the driving hazards winter may throw your way, we introduce the new full-time four-wheel drive Subaru Legacy. Because you can't control the conditions you drive in, we make sure you can control the car. The Subaru Legacy is renowned for its legendary full-time four-wheel drive. So when the weather goes to the dogs, your Subaru comes to the rescue.
Goals in that second period as Quebec leads Ontario 7-5. And one of those goals is our Longine Whitnauer play of the period. Robert Guillet comes out of the penalty box, goes in on the 2-on-1, and watch him go in on Chris Snell. Guillet waits and waits, finally tries the pass, gets the puck back behind the net, reaches around Snell, and Fred Brathwaite scores a beauty goal that makes it 6-2 in favor of Quebec. The play of the period brought to you by Longines Wittnauer, superb jewelry that tells time. We'll be back with more from the Forum in Montreal as our CHL Sunday night coverage of the All-Star Challenge continues in just a moment.
It's the times we remember. It's the moments together. It's a way of seeing yesterday, today. That's the photography.
You know, everyone has their own special memories. I know I do. And if you want your memories to look their best, you trust Black's quality. It's as simple as that. Big, beautiful prints guaranteed.
Black's is photography. Black's is.
CHL Sunday night on TSN, brought to you by Molson Canadian, what beer's all about. And in part by Shell, makers of the performance gasoline, Formula Shell. It was a wild and woolly second period. The scoring began 3.5 minutes into the period. Philippe Boucher sneaks in from the point, grabs the loose puck in front, and he beats Mike Torkey. That makes it 5-2. That was all for Torkey. He was replaced by Fred Brathwaite. Midway through the period, the beautiful goal by Robert Guillet, who came out of the penalty box and came in on the 2-on-1. A great goal by him, which made it 6-2 in favor of Quebec, and it looked like the All-Stars from that province would roll away with the game. But moments after that, Stephen Rice comes in from the corner. His first shot is stopped, and the rebound actually goes in off a Quebec forward. Rice gets credit for the goal, which cuts the lead to 6-3. Moments after that, Quebec enjoying a 5-on-3 advantage. Philippe Boucher steps up from the point and sees Yannick Perreault standing all by his lonesome. And Perreault gets his hat-trick goal. That makes it 7-3 in favor of the Quebec All-Stars. But Ontario fights right back. Short-handed Dale Craigwell from the Oshawa Generals walks into the slot and beats Felix Potvin up top. Ontario had cut the lead to 7-4. And then later in the period on the power play, the power and fury of Eric Lindros, number 88, drives in, tries to get to the front of the net, instead leaves it in front, and there is Jared Scaldi of the Belleville Bulls. He's got Potvin down and out, and he's got Ontario back in the hockey game. The lead is cut to 7-5, and that is our score after 2 periods. The goal by Perreault was once again the hat-trick goal. He has 3 on the night and still has a period to play. Eric Lindros continues his strong game. He has 3 assists thus far in this game. And I'm not sure what else we can see in this game. We've seen just about everything, but I'm sure the All-Stars from Ontario and Quebec have more great action in store for us. And for more on the game, let's go back to Paul Romanek and Bob McKenzie.
Yeah, at the end of that second period was any kind of a setup for this third period. We could be in for a wild and woolly one. Lindros and Lapointe matching up among other great players. By the way, it's 7-5 in this game, in case you were wondering in terms of offense generated in this series. The high score was back in 1986 when Quebec beat Team Ontario 11-4. Last year, a relatively staid affair by All-Star game standards. Ontario shut Quebec out 3-0. 7-5 in this one. Both teams back out onto the ice. And we had penalties at the end of that second period to tell you about. Stephen Rice picking up a minor, as did Mark Rogers on the Quebec team. He picked up a minor and then another one. So a double minor to Rogers and just 2 minutes to Rice. And then the scrap between Brad May and Guy Lahou, awarding them each 5 minutes for fighting. So the bottom line of that equation is that Ontario will start this period with a 2-minute man advantage and a chance to pull to within 1 goal of Team Quebec.
Paul, this truly is a David versus Goliath matchup. When you look at Quebec, you have to look at the background here. There are 8 AAA midget teams in the province of Quebec feeding 12 major junior teams. There is no Junior B or Tier 2 league to speak of, not certainly a quality league like you see in Ontario or Alberta or Saskatchewan. They have what's called the inverted pyramid, meaning 8 teams feeding 12, whereas in Toronto alone, for example, there are at least 15 AAA midget hockey teams, probably more than 50 in the province of Ontario. You've got Junior B, you've got Tier 2. It's really an incredible ends of the spectrum, and yet when they get these two teams together, Quebec gives all Ontario can handle, and quite often a lot more than it can handle.
I'm Paul Romanek with Bob McKenzie and Gord Miller. Third period action just underway. Team Ontario against Team Quebec, the 1991 All-Star Challenge. Quebec leading by a score of 7-5, and Ontario on the power play to start this third period. Jason York drops it back. Snell shoots it in. That's pulled down by Potvin. You're not going to beat him from that range. He has sparkled tonight from close range, never mind from far out. Here's Lindros. Centers it in front, scores! Dale Craigwell with his second goal of the game, and that's where you've got to beat Potvin from in close.
The Oshawa General connection. Eric Lindros, a heads-up play from the corner. Boy, is he having an outstanding night on the assist front. Watch the pucks give him back to Lindros here. Craigwell cruising in front of the net, sneaking in behind Levine, the defenseman. Levine, 2 players go to Lindros. That's the kind of attention he attracts. You see a good drop pass by Robbie Pearson. All 3 Oshawa Generals in on the power play, and you'll see the 2 defenders coming at Eric Lindros, leaving Craigwell alone in front to put it by Felix Potvin. Second goal of the game for Dale Craigwell.
He scored the other one shorthanded back in the second period. Firth and Lindros pick up the assists on Craigwell's goal. It is 7-6 with pretty much a whole period of hockey still to come. Here comes Chalafou, number 9, in with Sevigny. Adam Bennett starting back for Ontario. Comes in over the line with Jared Scully. Here's Chalafou to Sevigny. Bennett. Sevigny watching him. Purdy bumped by Sevigny on the flyby. Draper. Snell steps in, shoots a rocket right on, and it is held by Potvin.
Chris Snell's got one of the hardest shots in junior hockey, and he comes into the top of the face-off circle and tries to blow it by and overpower Potvin. Potvin made the save and almost allowed the rebound to slip out. But Snell, given the defense giving him all the room to come in and take the shot, that's one of the first few times tonight we've seen the Quebec League defense backing in on top of Potvin, allowing Ontario to gain the blue line so easily.
Teams had even strength, 18:40 to play, third period, lots of time. Ontario down by a goal, 7-6. Here comes Martel. Sends it in, and he'll come on in after it. In back of the net, Halverson trying to dig it loose. He's tied up. Here's Firth. Back in for Halverson, but he's down on the ice. Firth picks it up. Martel's in the slot. Back to the point instead. Hatcher with a shot. That wobbles wide. Firth gets it loose. Hatcher shooting. Here's Barahowski. There's a shot. And finally, it's just cleared out. Team Quebec, for one of the few times in this game, looking as though they couldn't break out of their own end. Lindros almost breaks that up. Here's Craigwell. He's got 2. In front, Pearson has it go by him. He's after it along the boards now. Craigwell to Pearson. Through the slot, he's tied up on the play. Number 7, Eric Roulet had a hold of him. Joel Blanc in deep. And he was in deep and in alone. Team Quebec making changes. Craigwell. Back for Lindros. Waiting for Pearson to get outside. He is. Now they can regroup, and Lindros will lead the charge. Pearson shooting, scores! It's tied at 7.
Chalk up another one for the Oshawa Generals. With Brad May in the penalty box for fighting, Dale Craigwell has moved to the line with Rob Pearson and Eric Lindros, and the three of them team up again. Lindros, yet another assist, fires a shot, gets his own rebound, and drops it off for Robbie Pearson. Robbie Pearson snaps it by Felix Popman from the perfect spot for Robbie Pearson to shoot from the dot right on the face-off circle. But again, we have to point out, Eric Lindros, everything he touches tonight is turning to goal, not necessarily for himself, but for his line mates.
Pearson, who played in this All-Star encounter last year, playing a big role in this game in the third period as he drills home the tying goal. 16:45 to go. It's 7-7. And just what you'd expect in an All-Star game, the premium on offense. Here's Sevigny. Into the point. Snell dumps him. Chalafou comes in. He and Scalby tie it up. Sevigny, number 22, moving in. Adam Bennett bumping him. Here's LaPointe. Brûlé. For Rochette. Rebound, Chalafou off the iron. Here comes Draper flying back for Ontario. The crowd still buzzing. Chalafou with an open net, and he hit the pipe. Here's Sevigny. Poirier can't keep it in.
Paul, I don't think I've ever seen anybody miss a more wide open net than Denny Chalafou did. We had Freddie Brathwaite so far out of the play with his back turned, the net completely empty, nobody within 10, 15 feet of him, and Denny Chalafou just rang it off the post. You see Brathwaite with his back to the puck, and I'm wrong, the guys were within 5 feet of him, but again, he wasn't even hardly pressured, and there you see what you rarely see in hockey, a wide open net. I could have put that one.
Boucher drifts one in high and wide. Martel. Rice has to wait for him to get on side. Firth dumping it in. Rice up to forecheck. 15 minutes to play, third period. A 7-7 hockey game, and here comes Perreault. Hit on goal. Perreault double teamed, and he can't get the shot away. And that's about the only way you're going to stop Yannick Perreault tonight. He's already got a hat trick, and there's a little shot delivered to the helmet of Steve Martel, and that will draw a crowd. Just a reminder to listen up at the conclusion of this game for our TSN Turning Point, brought to you tonight by National Trust.
There is one major financial institution that listens to your needs, that provides you with the personal service you're entitled to. National Trust. Make us the turning point in your financial future.
I wouldn't even want to think of pointing to a turning point yet with 14:53 to go in a 7-7 game. Lots of hitting and lots of chances.
Anytime Perreault's got the puck, it could be the turning point. A good job here by Adam Foote and Jason Firth, who double-team Perreault. Good, solid team defense. That's what they've been lacking in the first two periods. That's what they got there. As you follow it up here, Steve Martel and Perreault jousting with each other. Both of them go off with coincidental minors.
And they come at 15:07. 7-7 hockey game.
Little difference between the Quebec League and the Ontario League. In Quebec, they go with the NHL rule. The teams will play at full strength here. In Ontario, if this penalty were to take place, the teams would play one man each in the penalty box.
And another obvious difference you probably already picked out is that in Quebec, all the players have to wear the full face shield. Whereas in Ontario, you see a guy like Dale Craigwell, they can shave off the bottom of the visor, so it's just the half shield.
This is a major allowance. There's just some new regulations in Quebec that allow any player to wear a half shield, even if you're from Ontario.
Just tipped wide. Here's Craigwell. Lindros hog ties Brule and drags him down. Here comes LaRouche, gathering speed, gets it across. Return pass comes off the stick of Martineau, and LaRouche couldn't get it. Here comes Craigwell back in with Lindros and York. Craigwell shoots. That's kicked away by Potvin. And Potvin will hang on. 14-13 to go. 7-7 hockey game. Here's Gord Miller.
Tennis, anyone? How about the Davis Cup? Canada advances to the World Group first round for the first time in its history, and we'll have it for you live if you'd like at 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern time on Friday, but at a more civilized hour, we'll show it to you again at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's Friday. Davis Cup tennis, Canada and Spain.
Steve LaRouche all over Lindros, or Lindros all over the big defenseman. Eric Brule goes down. And a few moments later, Steve LaRouche and Eric Lindros got the jousting in the corner. Eric Lindros showing a little frustration, taking things a little further than he normally does, and he will be going off on a penalty here. Along with LaRouche. They met in the corner. LaRouche was holding onto Lindros' stick, and Lindros just turned around and delivered a very solid punch to the head. And then after that, they got into it a little bit.
The fans really turning on Eric Lindros. They cheered him during the player introductions at the start of the game. He got one of the biggest cheers, as a matter of fact. But since about halfway through the second period, they've been booing him.
He's getting the treatment that Guy Lafleur and Bobby Orr, usually reserved for the true superstars of the game in a visiting building. I know every time Bobby Orr came into the Maple Leaf Gardens when I was a kid to go and see him play, just rained down a chorus of boos on him.
A double minor to Lindros by the looks of it. So that will put Quebec on a power play. LaRouche just gets the minor. Lindros gets 2 and 2.
Out of character for Lindros. One thing that he's been doing very well this season, knowing that he's going to be checked very closely, knowing that he's going to be hit after the whistle and get extra attention, is to maintain his cool. In that particular instance, he did something he doesn't do very often, and that was lose his cool.
So it's a power play for Team Quebec. A 7-7 hockey game, and here comes Sevigny. Sevigny for Chalafou. Boucher shoots. That is blocked. Craigwell picks it up and gets it out. And in case you're wondering, just to remind you, Yannick Perreault is in the penalty box for this Quebec team. That's why he's not out there for the power play. He already has 3 goals in this game.
Some pretty good offensive talent sitting in that penalty box right now in the form of Perreault, Steve LaRouche, and Eric Lindros.
Chalafou. Here's Adam Foote. Chalafou bounces it in. Lapointe is in front. Sevigny trying to wrestle it from Foote to get it to him. Lapointe centers it across in front. Jared Scaldi just takes a look around and clears it in. Brule. 30 seconds left in the power play for the Quebec team. And haven't been able to muster much during this man advantage. Scored a power play goal earlier in the game. As a matter of fact, the first goal in the game by Team Quebec came with the man advantage.
You see how much Perreault's the offensive catalyst for this Quebec League team. When he's been in the penalty box, there's been no chances generated on this power play.
Rogers knocks it loose. Adam Foote breaks it up. Brule keeps it in at the blue line. 8 seconds left in the power play for Quebec. Rogers in the corner to Gillingham. Guillet to Gillingham. Centers it in front of the net. Penalized player back on. And the team's at even strength. Here comes Draper in. Works it through in front of the net for Purdy. Rogers worked over with the stick. Managed to get to center anyways. Darian Hatcher, the North Bay Centennials, up ahead to Purdy. Sevigny ahead to Chalafou, gathering speed with Sevigny trailing and Lapointe going for the net. There's Sevigny, scores! Sevigny puts Quebec on top.
Pierre Sevigny gets the goal. He's the trailer on the play, but watch Martin Lapointe, 27, go to the net, take the defenseman out of the play. A good play by 27 Lapointe to go to the net, tie up the defenseman, allowing Sevigny to be free, and then make it a 2-on-1. A classic way to develop a 3-on-2 into a 2-on-1, and Sevigny connects, make it 8-7.
Offside called on Team Ontario.
Paul, can't you just picture this guy playing for the Montreal Canadiens? He just looks like he fits in the Montreal Forum. Mario Tremblay. He compares himself to Mike McPhee and Brian Strudlin, but I see so much of Mario Tremblay in the way that he can score key goals, agitate, and do so many things to lift this hockey team.
He has the great sense of humor, loves to clown around. Great personality. And an exceptionally talented hockey player. Potvin is going to hang on to it. It's 8-7. And I got a feeling the scoring isn't through yet.
To survive the long, harsh winter, Canadians wrap themselves in wool.
Watch it now, watch it.
Huddle together.
There it goes, there it goes.
Keep their hands and feet moving.
Watch it now, get you.
And at the first sign of fatigue, they seek shelter and rest. Molson Canadian, genuine Canadian beer. What beer's all about.
Lots of hitting, lots of scoring. Freddie Brathwaite takes a breather and takes it in from the quiet end for the time being. During our intermission, Drake Barahowski talking with Gord Miller talked about keeping up the pace in this third period. They have. And here comes Perreault. What a pace he's set. 3 goals and counting. Here's Perreault going for the front of the net. Gillingham keeps it in. Perreault bumping Bennett. Rochette moves up. Perreault, Gillingham. That's stopped by Brathwaite. Levine shoots, scores! Todd Gillingham, right place, right time, and right on the mark.
A bad clearing attempt by the Ontario team. They had the puck, and a player without a stick tried to kick it out and kicked it right to the defenseman who fired the shot. And Gillingham will never score an easier goal than that. He was cruising in front of the net, didn't even see it. It bounced off him, and Fred Brathwaite's view shows this perfectly. There's Gillingham in front. And actually, I take it back. He did a very nice job of redirecting that using the shaft of a stick. Not unlike the Brad May goal that was scored in the first period.
And guess who got an assist? Yannick Perreault. .9:20 the time of the goal. Here's York. Here's York. Lead pass for Rice. And he hacks number 25, Patrice Martineau, as he tried to get outside on him. That is not a penalty being called. although the fans hollering for one. They've officially given that last Quebec goal to Eric Levine, the guy who took the shot, but as you saw in the replay, it was clearly Todd Gillingham who put it in.
It's almost fitting, though, because Levine has played such a strong game. A physical stay-at-home defenseman from the Hall Olympiques. This guy is a potential first-round pick this year. And we see here the shot, definitely, no question about it. The puck went off the shaft of Todd Gillingham's stick. But a good shot directed at the net by Levine. Alain Vigneault, the coach in Hall, very high on him, as are a number of NHL scouts. And down in the press room between periods, the scouts were saying they're so impressed with this guy. His stock is continuing to rise. He's going to rise right into the first round.
He was on the all-rookie team in the Quebec League last year and was Hull's first choice last season. He's really lived up to the billing so far. Here's Adam Foote, up for Brad May. Pearson to Lindros, to Pearson. Great play by Brulé to lie down and block the threat. Lindros. Here's Pearson now. You think Poirier's got a hold of Lindros? Foote. To York. Shoots. Not much getting past this guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the OHL.
Breakaway with Formula Shell Gold.
I think Felix Potvin has maybe played the best game of goalie's ever played when he's given up 7 goals.
Well, there's no question he's been there when they need him tonight. But it seems as though every time Perreault is on the ice, Quebec is a threat to score. Every time Lindros is on the ice, Ontario is a threat to score. Just a great head-to-head matchup tonight with those two fantastic hockey players.
Guy Lahou moves it up off the glass and gets it out. Past the halfway mark of this third period, 9-7, Quebec leading Team Ontario. Ontario coming back with 2 goals early in the third to tie this one up at 7. So they took a couple of steps forward and have taken a couple more back. Here's Craigwell up there with Draper, but it's offside.
You know, they knocked Yannick Perreault skating, but in every instance tonight against almost anybody out there, and this includes first-round picks like Darian Hatcher, Drake Barahowski, Adam Bennett, he doesn't look slow to me. He's making the plays he has to make. He's getting to the puck when he has to get it, and that's what happens when a player is so smart, his anticipation is so great. Quite often, he doesn't always need to rely on his speed.
They've just made the official change, by the way. Gillingham getting credit for that goal, rightfully. And Levine and Perreault pick up the assists. 9-7, Team Quebec leading Team Ontario, the 1991 OHL QMJHL All-Star Challenge. From the Forum in Montreal, I'm Paul Romanek with Bob McKenzie and Gord Miller. And if you've just joined us, sit back and enjoy the last 8.5 minutes of what has been an outstandingly entertaining hockey game. Here comes Draper driving in. Potvin the stop. Levine up to Martineau. Rogers clears it in. And Joe Canale, the Quebec head coach, makes some changes on the go. Rochette up to Sevigny. Sevigny given a bump. Jared Scully actually bounced off him. Jason Firth comes in with Scully. Firth to Rice. He goes to the net and gets there without the puck. Sevigny back out to Lapointe. To Sevigny. And Snell pulls it away. Sevigny circles back. Poirier fans on it. And Adam Bennett clears it away.
A good job by Sevigny, both ends. He prevented Stephen Rice from a glorious scoring opportunity by hooking Rice at the last moment.
Pierre Sevigny, property of the Montreal Canadiens, picked up by them in the 1989 draft, and he has played well.
Anytime, any place, you're my all-time favorite. You're my first-class entertainment.
Well, Paul, if I'm down 2 goals in a hockey game, as Ontario is right now, there's no one I want on my team in Canada, in Canadian junior hockey, more than number 88 right now.
And 88 gets it back to 15. Jason York across the foot with a shot. Gillingham. Going for the net with Perreault. Brathwaite with the save. Perreault pounces on it. Guillet getting it towards the front of the net. It's pulled away, and here comes Eric Lindros. Centers it right in front of the net. Perreault comes back. Up to Gillingham. To Perreault. And on goal. Loose in front, and it's picked up by York. Perreault's got it again. York intercepts. Rogers gets it in front. And Perreault was tied up off to the side of the net. Adam Foote wasn't letting him out of his sight. Here's Purdy, top of the slot. Works it through. Stopped by Potvin. He got down low and took away the scoring chance from Trevor Halverson. Martineau tries to go in the side door. Gets it in front. It's knocked away. Lehoux with a shot. Darian Hatcher up to Purdy. Cerrone. And this is Guy Lehoux. Cerrone knocks it down. Punches that one in. Potvin hangs on.
Lindros is a physically dominant hockey player, and when he goes one-on-one with a player, he sometimes uses some unconventional methods, which includes using one arm to try and just physically brute force push the guy out of the way. And going one-on-one with the Quebec League defenseman, he almost decapitates him, giving him a glove massage on Brûlé on the top of his head, trying to go around him. Little unorthodox. Some might even want to call that interference, but he gets away with it and creates an outstanding scoring opportunity for Robbie Pearson.
5 minutes, 45 seconds to go. The Quebec All-Stars leading the Ontario All-Stars 9-7 on this special edition of CHL Sunday night. Great game coming your way next Monday, too. A couple of division leaders in the Ontario Hockey League will clash. The Niagara Falls Thunder, leaders in the Ems division, up against the Oshawa Generals, leaders in the Leyton division. Brad May, who you've seen tonight, plays for Niagara Falls. Eric Lindros plays for Oshawa, of course. Sevigny. Chalifou to Sevigny. It's been a great combination in this game, those two. Craigwell coming back in. He's got Rice wide, breaking for the net. Craigwell drops it back deep to the top of the slot. Snell was the trailer, but was tied up. Here comes Chalifou back. In over the line with Lapointe. Lapointe with Chalifou in the slot. Chalifou comes in to get it now with Sevigny in front. And that falls apart. Rice. To Snell. Shoots. Just drifts towards the net, and it's pulled away by Sevigny. Rochette out at center. Guillet with Gillingham going for the net. Gillingham scores! like a badger. Wouldn't be held back. Put his head down and went for the net.
The big man from Labrador City, uncontrollable in front of the net. 220 pounds steaming at the net. Jason York, number 15, the defenseman for Ontario, can't handle him. He's too strong. The rebound comes out, and Gillingham's on the doorstep and bats it by Brathwaite. But just watch the power of Gillingham. We talked all night about the power of Lindros, just the sheer physical presence of a guy 6'2", 220 pounds, and very aggressively pushing to the net.
Adam Foote back in, centers it in front. And Potvin is there with the stop. Again.
Well, Paul, it's gut check time one more time for the Ontario team. They're down by 3 goals. There's 4:24 left in the game. And there's been 2 occasions in this game in the second period when they were down 6-2 and then 7-3. So they've rallied from 4 goals down. Now they have a tall order, 3 goals in the final 4:24 of this game.
And that would just get them to overtime. Foote with a shot. Brûlé. To Rogers. Back out at center for Martineau. Couldn't catch up with it. Here's York. Lindros giving a bump, but not before he cleared it in. And Potvin's going to hang on. And Poirier is at the center of that pile, down in the corner. Pretty much blocked out by everybody else. Now Lindros gets out of the way and we can see him.
Pat Quinn of the Vancouver Canucks, president and general manager, seeing an entertaining hockey game that's had just about everything tonight.
This is the kind of game Pat Quinn would have loved to have played in back in his heyday as a player. He was a tough guy out on the ice, liked the hard hitting. I can remember one famous check he threw, which was a little bit like that when he decked Bobby Orr, who played for the Boston Bruins, and that was one that a lot of Bruins fans like to forget. Lehoux. Off the skate of Sevigny. There's Rice at the line. Can't keep it in. Berehowski. Craigwell. 3 minutes, 35 seconds to play. Third period, 10-7. The Quebec All-Stars leading the Ontario All-Stars in just a friendly exhibition game. Lapointe. Craigwell. And here comes Philippe Boucher from the Granby Bison. He goes in deep. Boucher is belted back of the net by Rice. Heavy shot from Chalafou is stopped and Brathwaite hangs on.
Sevigny was all over Freddie Brathwaite. Gave him a big shot in the head as he skated by. Brathwaite still managed to make the save. And there's Sevigny in there now. 10-7, 3:05 left, and what he will try to do now is try to make Ontario think of something other than scoring goals. He'll be sticking his face in there, he'll be disturbing, he'll be bothering them, he'll be doing everything in his power to destroy the concentration of the Ontario team trying to come back from a 3-goal deficit.
It was Pierre Sevigny making like Richard Sevigny earlier in this period. Remember that puck sitting on the goal line that he pulled away, and here's a look at him scrapping it in front of the net at the other end. Chris Snell, the Ottawa 67s, back to pick it up for Team Ontario. Out for his teammate, Chris Draper. Across to Martel. Tried the return feed. That was Rochette sliding in to block it. 2 minutes and 44 seconds to go.
Martel's a right-hand shot that was going down the left wing. The puck came across from Draper, and Martel was unable to do anything with it on his backhand and just steered off to the corner by Rochette, who's had a very strong defensive game. In fact, right now, if we look at the difference between the two teams, the biggest difference is that Quebec has had far fewer defensive breakdowns than the Ontario team has. We're witnessing an outstanding performance from Eric Lindros, from Yannick Perreault, Pierre Sevigny, the real good offensive players. But defensively, as a team, Quebec has been more effective in this game than Ontario. And certainly the Quebec League strategy of exploiting defensive flaws on the blue line by Ontario has paid big dividends.
Yannick Perreault out in the ice. And so is Todd Gillingham. Here's Perreault. Gillingham has the last 2 goals for Quebec. Perreault has 3 tonight. Adam Bennett. Here's Snell. Works it up with the skate to keep it in. Lindros is in front. That long reach, he couldn't quite complete the spin around to get the shot on goal. Snell in a race with Guillet. Brathwaite out to take matters into his own hands. Up to Bennett. Adam Bennett of the Sudbury Wolves. Down into the corner. To Lindros. Shoots. Had a bead on the top shelf short side, and look at the pile up down in front of the net. Felix Potvin, Mike Torquia, Fred Brathwaite, all the goaltenders have taken their fair share of lumps in the goal crease. Lots of crowding.
The puck came out to Lindros in the slot. He fired a quick shot, something maybe he doesn't do enough of. He's got an outstanding shot, very hard and heavy. It rang off the outside of the post, and I believe as they clear the mess there, we'll see that it's probably Brad May getting up, who crashed to the net, trying to distract Potvin from stopping the shot. But at the same moment that puck hit the outside of the post, Brad May was on Potvin's doorstep, knocking him in. You see Bennett bring it out, and there's the slapper. And in fact, I stand corrected, it hit the outside of the net, did not go off the post. But you see Brad May already in behind the goal line. It was a good thought to get something behind the goal line, but they should try the puck this time.
Here's Jason York. Couldn't handle the pass, and Martineau's all over him. LaRouche. Right in on goal. Scores! Steve LaRouche, and it is 11-7.
Steve LaRouche holsters the gun, and the crowd sings na-na-na-na, hey-hey, goodbye to Ontario. And there's no question of that now, 11-7. What a move. He froze Freddie Brathwaite. Brathwaite sat there thinking that, hey, if he goes by, is he out of play? Watch LaRouche just freeze Brathwaite, and Brathwaite doesn't even move when LaRouche goes behind the net. He is hung out to dry, and LaRouche, a 4-year man in the Quebec League, makes it 11-7 and puts the nail in the Ontario coffin.
LaRouche, a draft pick of the Montreal Canadiens in 1989. And he just got back into the lineup in December after coming off a knee injury that kept him out for 2 months. Was he wheeling there? I gather his knee is well healed. 11-7. Team Quebec on top of Team Ontario, and here comes Sevigny. In with Chalafou. Back through for Sevigny, but he'd been chopped down. Here's Firth. Up to Martel. Levine has it poked away. Martel up there forechecking. Scaldi to Firth. Less than a minute to go. Here comes Sevigny. Trying to beat Barahowski, but the big guy got a grip on him. Scaldi out at center. And that's up over 2 lines, and it'll get called back. 46 seconds left. And I say again, Felix Potvin, for a guy who has let in 7 goals, has played a heck of a game.
Joe Canelli of the Chicoutimi Saguenayens has to be happy with this one. Quebec avenging last year's 3-0 loss. Canelli's just a happy guy with the first-place team in the Quebec League, ranked number 4 in the country, and tonight he's got the number 1 ranked All-Star team in the battle between Ontario and Quebec.
Quebec sont là, wave the flag. They have dominated Ontario, especially in this 3rd period, after it looked as though Ontario had turned the tables, coming back to tie it at 7. Gillingham in with Perreault. Perreault looking for goal number 4 in this game. But here comes Cerrone down for Ontario. 20 seconds left. Draper. Here's Gillingham. Perot up after it. This bump by Hatcher. 8 seconds. The Quebec Major Junior Hockey League dominating 11-7, defeating Team Ontario. And this is what Ontario goaltenders saw a lot of. Quebec players steaming around.
GM's half-ton full-size pickups have lower operating costs than a similarly equipped Ford. So even though they have a more powerful standard engine, they won't break the bank. Even though GM's new full-size pickups have a more powerful standard engine than a similarly equipped Ford, there is one thing they find harder to move.
Lots of motor oils claim to be tough. Quaker State puts it in writing. Ask your participating service center about Quaker State's tough lubrication guarantee. Only a tough motor oil can make a guarantee this tough. Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
Finally, a cordless drill that just won't quit. The Black & Decker Univolt. With more torque than its leading competitor and more than 100 watts out of power. Only one thing stops the Univolt. The industrial strength Black & Decker Univolt. The Industrial Tool Division of Black & Decker presents an industrial strength guarantee. If you're not satisfied with any tool we make, we'll take it back. Guaranteed.
It teaches them a lot about growing up, working as a group.
Most of your friends are there.
Giving back something to a game that I love so much.
I think it's very good for his self-esteem.
Volunteers make hockey happen at all levels of the game. Contact your local minor hockey association.
All right, there's superstars in action, Hillbilly.
That's right, Gene, right here on All American Wrestling.
See it throughout Canada, right here on TSN.
Watch for WWF Wrestling weekly on TSN.
Afin de procéder à la présentation de la Coupe Molson Chrysler et au choix des 3 étoiles du match de ce soir. Ladies and gentlemen, to present the Molson Chrysler All-Star Challenge Cup and the Molson Chrysler 3 Stars Award. J'inviterai au centre de la patinoire le directeur des relations publiques à la brasserie Molson O'Keeffe. Mesdames et messieurs, on accueille M. Régent Houle. Et le directeur adjoint des ventes, région du Québec, chez Chrysler Canada. Mesdames et messieurs, on accueille M. Maurice Demers. Monsieur Demers va maintenant procéder à la présentation de la 3e étoile. Mr. Demers will now present the 3rd Star Award. La 3e étoile, tonight's 3rd Star, de l'équipe Québec from Team Quebec. Le numéro 91, number 91, Philippe Boucher. M. Monsieur Demers fera de même pour le choix de la deuxième étoile du match de ce soir. Mr. Maurice Demers of Chrysler Canada will now present the second star award à l'équipe Ontario, to Team Ontario, le numéro 88, number 88, Eric Lindros. Monsieur Régent Houle, directeur des relations publiques à la brasserie Molson O'Keeffe, fera de même pour le choix de la première étoile du match de ce soir. Mr. Régent Houle of Molson O'Keeffe Breweries will now present the First Star Award. Mesdames, Messieurs, la première étoile du match de ce soir. Tonight's First Star de l'équipe Québec from Team Quebec, le numéro 44, number 44, Yannick Perrault.
Well, there you get a look at the vanquished. And on the right, you see the victors.
Great individual effort by Yannick Perrault.
Now, Monsieur Régent Houle of Molson O'Keeffe Breweries and Monsieur Maurice Demers of Chrysler Canada will now present the Molson Chrysler Challenge Cup to the Team Quebec captain. Mesdames, Messieurs, le capitaine de l'équipe Québec, Team Quebec captain, le numéro 22, number 22, Pierre Sévigny. Mesdames, Messieurs, l'équipe Québec, l'équipe championne édition 1991 de la Coupe Molson Chrysler. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1991 Molson Chrysler All-Star Challenge Champions, Team Quebec.
The All-Stars from the province of Quebec celebrate a victory in the 1991 OHL Quebec Challenge in the All-Star game at the Montreal Forum. And what an evening for Yannick Perrault. As the fans chanted his name at the Forum in Montreal, Perrault was named tonight's Molson Cup first star in the game. Perrault with 3 goals and an assist in the hockey game, certainly a deserving recipient of the Molson Cup First Star Award. The second star had not a bad evening himself. Eric Lindros chipped in with 5 assists. And the third star, an outstanding evening for Philippe Boucher. All of tonight's Molson Cup 3 stars will receive a gift pack from Brut by Fabergé. Time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by National Trust. The game was tied at 7 in the third period. Ontario was rolling, but Quebec came right back after the tying goal. Denis Chalipeau with the great pass to Pierre Sevigny. Sevigny cashes it, making it 8-7. It turned out to be the game winner, and it's tonight's TSN Turning Point. A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada on behalf of TSN and National Trust. National Trust, our business is financial service. We'll have more from from the Forum in Montreal as the Quebec All-Stars defeat the Ontario All-Stars by a final score of 11-7. Our CHL Sunday Night Special Edition continues in just a moment.
People who think all motor oils are the same should have their heads examined. Just look at his head. See the sludge that can build up? The scoring on this piston. And this metal wearing away because someone didn't give their oil a second thought. Well, think about it. And switch to premium Valvoline all climate. Beats every car manufacturer's warranty specs. There's nothing rated higher than Valvoline. Nothing.
Presenting Surviving the Munchies, a teenager's guide. Number 1, know the munchies, a hunger that hits below the belt. Number 2, know that number 1 can't be sweet talked by chocolate or candy, whipped by licorice, crumbled by cookies, and sorry kids, mom's cake just won't cut it. No, the only way to crunch the munchies is with a fresh, crisp Hostess potato chip.
'Cause when you go down munchies, nothing else will do.
Hostess potato chips.
And remember, be careful out there.
We are capturing this magnificent bald eagle in his natural habitat with the zoom lens of the Sony TR Series Handycam. You can see for yourself the crisp, clear broadcast quality once achieved only by professional cameras. If you want your pictures to look this good, shoot them with the Sony TR Series Handycam. Take it from Sony. It has what it takes to take great pictures.
Thursday, it's an Adams Division battle. The Montreal Canadiens are at the Garden in Boston to take on Bork and the Bruins. He's always admired his talent. Now he has a chance to talk with him. Don Cherry talks with Bobby Orr in the Grapevine. The night of hockey continues with all the exciting highlights from around the NHL and Sports Desk. The Canadiens and the Bruins, Bobby Orr's in the Grapevine, and all the highlights on Sports Desk. Thursday on TSA.
The All-Stars from Quebec defeat Ontario 11-7 in a thriller at the Forum in Montreal. A high-scoring, hard-hitting affair, and certainly worthy of All-Star competition. Pierre Sevigny, tonight's Molson Cup third star, joined us now. And Pierre, I don't know if many All-Stars games can compare to the one that we saw tonight. Very intense, very hard-hitting.
Yeah, all the time, during the game, all the time, very intensity. Good forecheck for OHL, and the team also a good forecheck. I am very happy for my team.
Is there any thrill bigger for a young Frenchman to play at the Montreal Forum, to hear the fans cheering him on?
Oh, it's a very good experience, I think. So good building, good many people here, very intensity and very happy for the game.
How important was it for you guys to defeat Ontario?
Ontario is a good team. It's a big, many people skate fast. Good game.
All right, thanks for Pierre Sevigny, tonight's Molson Cup third star, as the Quebec All-Stars defeat Ontario by a final score of 11-7 tonight. Our next game should be another great one on CHL Sunday night on TSN. It'll be Eric Lindros and the Oshawa Generals taking on the Niagara Falls Thunder. That game starts next Monday, February the 4th at 7:30 Eastern Time. It's a first-place showdown between the leaders in the Ems Division and the Layton Division in the Ontario Hockey League. CHL Sunday night on TSN, brought to you by Molson Canadian, what beer's all about. And in part by Shell, makers of the performance gasoline, Formula Shell. From all of us at TSN, so long from the Forum in Montreal. Oh, no problem. You were great.
Special with David Suzuki.